everyone, welcome to Alexa Flexibility. Today we're going to work on a stretch that is good for students who are tight in the hip hamstring area. Overall, it kind of builds overall hip mobility, but also who are struggling with tight IT band area and glutes. So he is going to cross his foot over to the wall, and I also find the stretch really good for students who are struggling with alignment issues and squaring. That's kind of going to be our main focus. So he's going to walk his foot down on the wall until it's at level with his hips, not down to the floor, but nice and level there. And it's really important to make sure the toe is turning up towards the head and that the student has good weight into the wall. So they should feel like the wall is slightly pushing into their hip a little bit. Now, as you can see, he's struggling a little bit with his alignment issue here. He's rolling his foot slightly out and away from the wall, and his hip is also unsquared and slightly hitched up. This is a very typical alignment that you will see where the students don't track correctly between the foot, the knee, and the hip, and we really need to help them find that better alignment so that they're protecting themselves from injuries. So he's trying his hardest right now, but because of the tight area on the outside of his calves and the outside of his IT band area, it's difficult for him to correct that right now. So we're going to build in a little bit of flexibility for him so he can correct his alignment. So he's going to take one of his hands and just give himself a little massage and a little bit of vibration on the top of that quad there to really help that area release some fascia in there. And this is a real typical alignment issue that we'll see, especially from a lot of ballet students who are struggling. This stretch is good for intermediate and advanced students, not recommended for beginners because it is so focused on alignment. They won't have that awareness yet. All right, now he's still trying to drop that hip down into his squaring, but at the same time, keeping the ball of the foot pushing into the wall and trying to correct that roll in his foot. He's going to bend his back leg now, and he's going to catch it with the other hand and nice and slow to the bend so he stays super relaxed in there. You don't want them to tense up in the quad. Maybe he shouldn't feel any stress or pull around his knee. Everything should feel really relaxed. And now he's doing his best job to try to relax down into his square so that he's really, really trying to get that hip, foot, knee alignment corrected. Okay, so he's working very hard on that. Now, the next step that he's going to do, he's going to stay in that position. He's going to try to slightly walk his foot up on the wall so he can move it just a tiny little bit up there. Good, that's enough because we're really focused on alignment first, not trying to get that leg super high. So he keeps trying to roll that hip down to the on the outside towards his support knee there. And now he's going to let go of the back leg. And when he lets go of the back leg, he's going to bend the front leg now. So he can scoot himself a little bit closer to the wall to get a nice bend in there. It's a little bit of an awkward scooch there. Great. And so now he should feel it in a slightly different place. He's working more on the outside glute hip alignment there. So he's going to try to drop that hip down. He can still use his massage, his vibrating in there. And a lot of students will find it kind of up around the glute areas. They're trying to square that. You also noticed it got hit a little bit easier for his foot alignment. Super. And then the very last step that he's going to do is he's going to drop the foot deck down and go into straight leg where he started from. And we should be able to see a little bit of difference now, dropping that hip down, really getting into squaring, and yet keeping the foot straight, not letting that roll. And that looks a lot better, just a tiny bit more square in there. So if he's still struggling a little bit at the end, you can have them slightly unsquare and then go back to square so that the brain really registers the new area. Yes, and then a little bit more, slightly unsquare, and drop it all the way down now into square without letting the foot roll. Great, well done. Thanks for joining us today, and hope you find this useful.